Everyone, and welcome to this small video of Hello World on Spring Boot. The idea here is to basically introduce how quickly we can start writing a Spring Boot application and also understand the very basics of how easy it is to actually do it. Right, so here I am on the start.spring.io, the URL, which helps us create Spring Boot applications instantaneously, right? And when I hit this particular URL, I see this page where I have to make a few selections, right? So there are a few package management, frameworks like Gradle for Groovy. There's something called Gradle for Kotlin, and there's the old and the very popular one called Maven, right? So for the purpose of this particular video, we will just stick to Maven, right? And our language of preference is going to be Java, right? And we will talk a lot about these during the course of our training. So don't worry if you don't understand any of these at this point, right? The idea, like I said, here is to just introduce you to some of these, terminologies and to basically see how easy it is to get started. Right, so just to give a name to this particular microservice or a Spring Boot application, I'll just call it training demo if that's okay for the purpose of this particular video, right? And the packaging for most of the microservices, in fact, I can probably say that all of these microservices will be jar, right? The monolithic world which we used to work on previously, we used to have war files that were deployed onto VMs, right? But with cloud native applications, we have basically a tendency to basically just go for a jar file, right? And we will choose Java 17, which is probably the latest long-term support version available for Java at this point, right? And in terms, what you see on the right is basically a list of dependencies that we know we would need to add basically to our microservice, and that would allow us to fulfill the business requirement, right? So for the purpose of this particular video, we'll just add one library called the Spring Web, right? This basically allows you to expose REST endpoints, which you can then share with other teams who are going to basically consume your REST endpoint, right? So with all of these selected, I will just quickly click on generate button. And as you can see, the zip file has now been downloaded onto my laptop, right? Which means I can quickly go and unzip it, right? I'll say show in Finder and I'll unzip it, right? And then I will go to an editor, right? Any editor of your choice, which is like IntelliJ IDEA for that matter. And I will try to open this particular application in IntelliJ IDEA.